yeah, it pretty much is Oyinkan. So that was, and I figured Ayula was pretty self-explanatory. Oh, hi.
We're live.
That went fast.
Oh, man. Well.
One of these days we'll actually look professional doing this.
No, never. I think that's our thing.
It's
Like,
probably our thing. We are so not professional.
Right. That's just our thing at this point. But anyway, hello. Welcome to tea time. I have my mug today, so I can. Oh, you're not gonna be able to see it in the light, but it says it's tea time on the mug.
Need to go over that with a Sharpie or something.
Yeah. There we go.
There it is.
It's there. But yeah, today we are talking about My Sister the Serial Killer by...
I just said I could pronounce it. Oyinkan Braithwaite.
Yes. This was my book club choice for the book club, obviously. But yeah, this was my choice.
We're so together.
It's been a long weekend. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I was really excited to read this book. I actually think I heard about it on Books and Lala's channel. Maybe. It was on a BookTuber's channel that I remember hearing about it. And since I have such a passion for serial killers, which I know sounds kind of creepy, but I do have quite the thing for serial killers. I thought this would be a book that I would really, really enjoy, and so I was really excited to read it. However, as seems to be the theme with all of the book club books we've chosen, this one didn't live up to the hype for me yet again, and this was actually probably my least favorite book that we've read thus far for book club. So, very sad day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't hate it. I'm going with the old middle of the road 3 again. I think you were a little bit worse than.
Yeah, I'm giving it 2 stars, only for the mere fact that it was a fast read. That's the only reason I'm giving it.
It was.
Like, I loved how short the chapters were. Like, it's literally like 1 page.
Some of them
chapters.
are like a paragraph.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I love that. I wish all books were that way, quite frankly. Like, I see long chapters in books, and it just makes me want to kind of, I just die a little bit inside. But, yeah,
well,
2 stars for
the
this.
short chapters kept it punchy
and
kept it moving, and so yeah, I enjoyed that too.
Yeah,
it was a fast read.
Yeah,
it really was.
If it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have finished this book. Quite frankly.
Well, it's not a long book.
No.
I mean, it's pretty slender.
It's like 220 pages.
Yeah, it wasn't a long read, but I said I didn't hate it. I just didn't. The description on the back, the summary is misleading.
Yeah.
So that disappointed me because it really didn't. I don't know. I guess I was expecting a thriller kind of thing, but following basically the criminal and her sister that cleans up after her. And it wasn't a thriller like at all. So yeah, I don't know. It was kind of boring in that aspect. It was very plot light and very much more like a study of these 2 girls' characters. And, But
it wasn't even a good one at that either.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like Ayla was really in the book all that much. Like, the book focused
the actual serial killer.
Yeah, the book focused on her sister.
Yes.
The whole time.
Yes.
And it was always everything from her point of view, the sister's point of view, not the serial killer.
Right.
I'm like, I literally am reading this book because I thought that we were going to get like a first-hand look at serial killing, like at murdering men. Like, that was the draw for me. And we didn't get that.
Well, and there wasn't even, like, in the book. It started off with Karebi. I did Google how to pronounce it. I'm pretty sure that's it. Karebi getting called to a crime scene and them cleaning it up, but it's after the fact. And so this guy that was killed, Femi, is referenced a lot in the as Karebi thinks about him, because I guess that was Ayula's third murder.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the first one, well, basically Ayula's thing is that they're terrible people and they try and hurt her and she's just defending herself is the deal. But I guess the first two, they'd actually met.
Mm-hmm.
The family had met them, and she talks about how she could see why, Ayula killed him. And so she was, of course, all defending her sister and all this. But when it comes to Femi, he'd never met the family. So she really didn't know. She had doubts. And then the way Ayula was acting, I think there was a line in there. She said, at least with the first two, she cried. Mm-hmm. She pretended, Ayula is basically a psychopath. I mean,
straight up
sociopath. I mean, like no emotion, no empathy, nothing. But she knows how to pretend. And there's lots of references where Karebi remembers them growing up, her teaching Ayula how to react and teaching her what culture expects of you when someone dies, So Ayula grows up with that kind of tutoring to be, a very good actress. So, but she didn't feel any of it. So it's not real.
Yeah.
But that's one of the lines she said, at least with the first two, she pretended to cry. And now with Femi, she's like, a day later, she's posting on Snapchat, posting on Instagram, and Karebi has to stop her from doing that because reminding her that your boyfriend is, quote, missing. So anyway, it's definitely how Karebi, as pretty much a classic enabler, deals with Ayula in the aftermath of this murder of Femi. And then there's nothing else until close to the end.
Yeah.
So.
And even the end wasn't that good. Like that little bit between Ayula and T.E.E and all of that, like
mm-hmm.
It was just nothing. It's like she just shows up, someone got stabbed, and then we're at the hospital, and then like nothing is.
And then it's done. But so the summary says basically, obviously Karebi knows her sister, and there's a thing where she realizes that a third murder makes you a serial killer, and so anyway, the summary is like, Karebi is a nurse at a hospital, and she's got feelings for this doctor, but she's got this secret with her sister, and but then her sister comes in, and basically this doctor that Karebi cares about and Ayula hook up, and so now Karebi has to save him. And yeah, it kind of is, but it's not like there's this big storyline that follows any kind of. I don't.
There's no drama.
Yeah, no.
There's literally nothing. It pretty
much.
I
wouldn't say there's nothing. It's very understated, for sure.
It's just no. It was so bad because it was like so like. Ayula walks in, and T.E.E, the doctor, sees her, and he's just like immediately smitten and in love with this woman. And every time that Karebi is like, no, like my sister, like you guys shouldn't be together. It literally, she just says it once, and then T.E.E gets mad at her. She's like, okay, I tried. And then that's it. And
that's how she saves him.
Yeah, like girl.
That's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't say there's no drama because there's a lot about. Like Karebi pining over T.E.E and being all angsty because, Ayula is the beautiful one. And Karebi is not. And so there's a lot of, she was never treated as well by her parents as Ayula because wasn't as attractive. And so like her marriage aspects wouldn't be as good. And by the way, this is present day. So, still. So yeah, a lot is made of how attractive Ayula is, and that everybody does this. But T.E.E up to this point is very friendly. he and Karibi are friends and very caring doctor, very good to his patients, and yet the minute he sees Ayula, it's like all over. I mean, he's just, to me, it's like they changed his character to fit the plot. Yes. Because I'm like, the doctor they introduced at the beginning is not the doctor that just sees a woman once and is in love with her. I mean, it's like all his intelligence just gone.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't know, maybe that was supposed to be some kind of point. I don't know, but to make Karibi be able to say, well, he deserved it or something.
Or to just like showcase how powerful Ayula's looks are. I don't know.
Or how shallow men are. I don't know.
But that's very accurate.
But the thing is that he was not presented as the type of person, he was presented as a very intelligent, caring, empathetic person. And now all of a sudden he like throws everything. Like there's this, he sends her orchids. He sends Ayula orchids. And she texts him back something like, thank you for the flowers, but I really prefer roses. And so Karibi is thinking, well, he's going to get mad or offended or whatever, hurt. And instead, about an hour later, here comes this big bunch of roses. It just was not the character that T.E.E was introduced to be. So I feel like that was like totally wrong. I mean,
so bad.
Like they just totally lost his characterization in order to fit this story. So I didn't like that. No, it didn't fit.
T.E.E, at the start of the book, he was one of the only characters that I did kind of like, and I was like rooting for him, and I knew that him and Ayula were gonna like have the thing, obviously.
Right.
And at the beginning of the book, I was just like worried for him. Like, I'm like, no, please do not kill this man. Like, I like him. By the time he meets Ayula and to the end of the book, I was like, I hope he dies. Like, I literally am like, I hope she kills him because I do not like him anymore.
Yeah, because like Karibi's trying to warn him about Ayula, sort of, without, spilling any secrets. And he just comes back and says, he's totally manipulated by Ayula. He comes back and says something like, well, Ayula said you probably say that you're just jealous. You're trying to run her down. She said that you're like that. And I never would have expected you to be that bad. Yeah. Like, well, I never would have expected you to be like that. So.
Right. Well, because apparently, like, T.E.E and Coretti were, like, pretty close. Like, from what I was reading, like, they had gotten to be pretty close. They were, like, really good workplace friends. Like, he was talking about taking her out to celebrate when she gets head nurse position. Like, all of these things. Like, there's no reason for him to think that she's, like, this terrible person.
Yeah, he knows her first.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, he's just, like, here's one word from her sister about how mean she is, and he's just like, everything that he knew about her before just goes thrown out the window.
You should take care of your sister. You should be loving to your sister. You are the older sister.
Yeah, I can't believe you're this way.
And I said it totally changed his character just to fit the narrative, and so it felt totally flat on that.
Yeah,
on that part. I did somewhat enjoy, at least at first, Karibi's internal kind of like not knowing what to do. I mean, she obviously knows it's wrong, but she grapples with, this is my sister who I am responsible for. And they did go into the whole, like, their father. And so their upbringing, I think it was meant to probably showcase why the two girls were the way they were.
Right.
But
which I liked that. Like, I think that was good.
Somewhat. It was kind of cliche, though. I mean, it was the classic abused childhood raises a sociopath. Could we not just say that she was just a shit person from the get-go and go with that? I don't know. But it was an abusive, but by their father. Mm-hmm. It was an abusive, and that being the older sister, Karibi always felt protective, but then that was reinforced by their parents as far as, because Ayula's the beautiful one, you have to take care of her. You have to be responsible for her. So anyway, that was, it never comes out and says it, but the inference is there well, like, he was obviously physically abusive. That was outlined. And was going to give Ayula to a chief for a day or a night. But there was also a little hint that there was possibly some sexual abuse by their father, too. So, but it absolutely never came out and said that. So it was very clear setup that the abuse these two girls suffered basically made Ayula what she was and set Karibi up to be her caretaker, her responsible for her, which is why they lead into this. The first time that she kills someone, she calls Ayula, or she calls Karibi, and Karibi goes and cleans up. So there's all of that, which again, I thought, okay, sure, but that's really just kind of cliche at this point, you know. Abused childhood leads to serial killer, because we're always looking for an excuse, right? So I thought it was kind of lame, but there it was.
Her sister, Karibi, didn't turn out to be a serial killer.
No, but she was never the one that was given everything she ever wanted. And
true. And that's why I'm like, once you reach a certain point, and that's why I like really hated Karibi by the end of it, because all she was doing at that point was just enabling.
Oh yeah,
like you said,
absolutely.
Like there comes a certain point, like I understand this is your sister, but if you keep cleaning up her messes and keep protecting her and all of this, what do you think she's gonna do?
But see, that's what I never quite understood either, because it seemed like, well, okay, so towards the end, it was like this choice. Like you either save T.E.E and at the expense of your sister going to prison, or you side with your sister. Well, she sided with her sister in the end.
Yeah.
And so I've never quite understood, you know, there was all this angsty stuff beforehand. It was like, in the end, she just decided, hey, this is how Ayula is, and we're just going to roll with that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, sure. But I think that's a classic enabler thing, that huge feeling of responsibility, you know, that if you don't take care of something, not only will that person be hurt because they might have to go to jail, they might have to go to rehab, whatever the enabling in titles, but you fail because you didn't prevent it, you didn't help it. That's classic enabling. So, I mean, Ayula Karibi was a classic enabler who in the end chose to continue to enable instead of choosing to let her sister fall. And so it was kind of interesting. I really felt like Karibi was under Ayula's spell just as much as anybody else was.
It was true.
Because Ayula knew how to manipulate her.
She knew how to manipulate everybody.
Yeah, like she really did.
I have to say, I give her props for that. Like she was a master at manipulation.
For somebody who had no empathy whatsoever, she could play feelings like nothing else.
Oh yeah, she knew exactly what to say.
Pretty classic for, you know, a psychopath or sociopath that's learned how to function. I mean, not all of them are serial killers, obviously, but still. Anyway, yeah, like I said, I never just. I don't know. I didn't really understand. I don't know. That there was just never a breaking point with Ayula where Karibi said, that's enough.
Right.
And we're talking about murder here.
Yeah. I feel like that should be enough. But yeah. I don't know. Like I was trying to sit there and like read and think like, okay, if this was my brother committing all these murders, like, would I turn him in? Or I don't know. Like I don't know what I would do. Like I feel like that would be a very tough situation. But at the same time, it's like, you know, what he's doing is wrong. He kind of needs to pay for what he did.
Well, or, you know, obviously there's something wrong there that maybe needs to be helped.
Right. And you can't get help if you keep allowing this
I
kind
mean,
of behavior.
it kind of talks about, or it doesn't talk about, but it kind of like references the whole, you know, what is really love? Is love helping someone to the ends of the earth, regardless of what they do? Or is real love stopping them? And, not allowing somebody to continue with destructive behavior because they need help.
That's just harmful for everybody.
And it's harmful. Yeah. So, allowing them to continue that way. And I think that shows just how twisted Karibi was herself. That
all of her own trouble.
even though she's the one that had the conscience, she still was really twisted up. She was a twisted person. So, because she really she had no qualms about throwing a body over a bridge and cleaning up the blood. I mean, really, she didn't. And
she was good at it.
Yeah.
She was very good at it.
I mean, the only thing she kind of agonized over was if they were going to get caught. She really didn't care.
So I wonder if, maybe in a way, she kind of enjoyed it.
Well, there you go.
And also, it gave her sister a reason to need her.
Well,
and she, like everyone else, wanted to be wanted by her sister.
Now there's that too. Maybe
so
I don't know. But yeah, it was a really twisted up sort of deal.
Yeah.
And I think they killed their dad. Did you get that?
Oh, 100%.
But it doesn't say what happened.
No, they never come out and say how his death went down.
Yeah.
But I think that was honestly their first murder.
Yeah, probably because, this chief comes to their house and of course sees Ayula and wants her, and so her dad is going to give her to him. So when he's gone, his sister comes over, their aunt comes over, and she's ready to take Ayula to this chief and try to tell him, oh, this is just the way it is. He'll give you anything you want. And even at that point, Ayula's like, really? Anything? Karibi's the one pitching a fit about her not going.
Mm-hmm.
And she only knows she can pitch this fit because her dad wasn't there.
Right.
And so they, in effect, sent their aunt away, knowing that they're going to catch all holy hell when dad gets home. And so Karibi turns to Ayula and says, we have to kill him. And I think they did. Because it doesn't really, there's a scene in there where it replays when he died, but it doesn't say how he died or what led up to it. It was just like they were there and he was angry and he fell. So
he fell
over, he collapsed. So at the time I was thinking, well, maybe he was so angry he had an aneurysm or something or a stroke. But no, I think they killed him. They killed him for sure. I just don't know how. But anyway, yeah, it just, I don't know. I guess in a sense, it made sense that she was that way. But the story, how it went with the story, it was just too, I don't know if it was too vague, but it just seemed like it wasn't explained sufficiently to make it believable.
I mean, everything that supposedly happened to Ayula and Karedi because of their dad, it was all stuff that you had to kind of infer.
Yeah.
There was never anything that came out and just be like, he beat them to an inch of their life.
No.
Or he did.
There was one time.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There was one. But I mean, other than that, there really wasn't a whole lot that you had to guess at what it was. Use the context clues to try and figure out why he was such a terrible father.
Well, it never did say why he was the way he was. I mean, there was nothing there. He was just a rotten person.
Yeah.
That was very controlling. And maybe, I mean, I finally figured out it was in Nigeria. Took me a bit on that one. Or maybe not, because it really just took a bit. Maybe that's just culture.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know enough. I mean, I'm sure that not all Nigerian fathers beat their children. That's not what I'm saying. But maybe, I don't know if that ultimate parental control is a Nigerian thing, a cultural thing for them, that children obey their parents no matter what they want,
I almost, where's this is a stupid question. Where's Nigeria?
Africa.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then that just kind of blows my.
So I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if that's like a cultural thing where respect from your children is so ingrained that children basically do whatever their parents say they're going to do. And that in this instance, their father took that to an extreme. I don't know if that's the case, but maybe it is. I don't know.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the parents in like 1,000 Splendid Sons and the Kite Runner.
Oh yeah,
Stuff like that culture too.
yeah,
Because that was a big thing. Like they pretty much just like given away their daughters, and if they weren't beautiful or how they wanted, they just cast them out.
yeah,
So that's kind of how this seemed like it was as well.
And it might have been. I mean, I don't know, but anyway, their dad was an asshole.
Yeah, that one part where he brought home that lady. He brought home just like, oh my gosh, I legit wanted to throw the book.
I know. Oh
okay.
My god.
So their father was out on the town, ends up bringing home this random stranger while his wife is home, their mother and the two sisters, like they're all home. His family's home. Yeah. And he's bringing home this random girl, and the wife was just like she knew that he sleeps around. But like obviously, like you don't want that in your face.
I had never brought anybody to their house before.
Yeah. And he just like she starts going off and like trying to like get this woman off her porch, pretty much. And her husband just takes her and throws her. The side hoe starts like laughing at her, being like, "My boyfriend won't let you touch me, ha ha ha!" And they step over the wife, go into the house, and sleep together.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of like this guy had a really
freaking trash
like king complex. Like I can do whatever I want.
Because they let him.
Well,
his wife was terrified of him. The sisters, like his daughters, were terrified of him.
Yeah. Yeah. So he could do whatever he
do whatever he wanted, and like it's not like they could just leave him.
I guess not that, but in his own head, there was no line where he said, "Oh, okay, I don't cross that line." Yeah. And maybe that was meant to say that Ayula genetically, I don't know. She was trying to suggest that sociopathy is genetic. I don't know, but her dad was kind of that same way. Or maybe it was, because I truly believe that those tendencies are generally born in and can be better or worse depending on your nature, your nurture. Mm-hmm. But I do think a lot of it is innate. I mean, not to say that it can't be brought on at a young enough age, but I think most of the time that ability to empathize and stuff, or the difficulty of doing it is a born in thing,
the nurture of this, like.
I think it's the same way with, social interactions. How some people just seem to so naturally talk to other people or always know the right thing to say.
Like my dad.
Like your dad.
My dad could talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I am not that way.
And always seems to know what to do in a social situation. Whereas like someone like myself, for instance, who is so terribly awkward that, I can sit and stare at somebody and then go, oh God, I don't know what to say. And then like, oh God, I'm staring, finally come up with something to say. But at my age, I've obviously learned how to be more comfortable. But when I was younger, oh my God, man, it was not good. Yeah, we won't even talk about how I used to date. Nobody wants that horror story. So things like those kind of things, I think our tendencies are born and then our skills develop as we learn and get older. But I think there's always a basis there, for how it is. But anyway, sideline. Their dad was a mess. But he definitely had that kind of ruler. I do whatever I want because I am absolutely in charge. Absolute power.
Which, that mirrors Ayula.
Yeah, she really did.
For sure. She
could do whatever
after their dad. Well, I was gonna say not so much as like an abuser, but then again, she was.
She murdered people.
You know.
I don't know, because it doesn't address that with their dad very much, but it seemed to me like their dad could recognize right from wrong and just didn't care, chose not to. It just like Ayula could not recognize right from wrong.
Oh no, she thought that everything she did was right.
Right, because I mean,
no one ever
it was Karibi who had to tell her you can't kill people.
Yeah,
that's bad.
You can't be posting on Instagram about how much you are falling for this new guy 2 days after your ex is missing.
Yes. And she has to ask Karibi, how long do I have to stay off social media?
Like a whole year.
And then
like a whole year.
A year?
That's too long.
We didn't date that long.
It was only a month.
So I think there was definitely a tendency with Ayula that she could not distinguish between. Well, she definitely couldn't distinguish between what you might, I don't know, say, like the etiquette of things. I mean, she just couldn't see any reason why. Well, Fami's gone. Who cares?
Yeah.
But, actual right from wrong, because she knew enough to be able to say, or at least try to convince Karibi that it was self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody who'd lived to her early 20s could probably get a sense that people look on killing other people as wrong. But I don't think Ayula felt that.
No, I think it almost became like a game. Like, she used them up to a certain point. She lost interest, and then instead of just like, breaking up with them like a normal person, she murders them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they weren't any use to her anymore, and so they didn't need to stay in this world,
Well, her first 2 victims, like Karibi bought into the whole with defending myself because they were, sleazy pieces of work. So she really could buy into that they attacked Ayula and Ayula killed herself to defend herself. It was with Femi that she didn't. Because when Femi's family started posting on social media about, help us find him, has anybody heard from him?
And all of his
poems. And then Karibi starts to have serious doubts.
Yeah.
And then Ayula starts going out with T.E.E.
Mm-hmm.
And Karibi knows T.E.E. and knows the type of person that he is. And so, it's no big stretch for her then to know, okay, this is not her defending herself anymore. This is not, if it ever was.
Do you believe her story about the other married guy that she was with, that she went to Dubai with, that died from food poisoning?
No, because there was that newspaper article that Karibi found that said it was drugs.
Okay,
he was drugged.
A drug overdose.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So no. The only reason she didn't dwell on that one was because drugs weren't Ayula's MO. It was a knife.
Yeah.
A knife that had belonged to their father. So I think that was Ayula's power play. She was being her dad. She was using his knife. And I think that has some real strong hints on sexual abuse there myself. But anyway, yeah. No. I think he was number 4. Yeah.
Or number 5, I guess, if you count their father. Although I think that was a tag team kill.
Yeah, I don't think that was counted, because when the chapter heading for Femi, wasn't it number 3?
Yeah. I think so.
I think. Get there. No, it was Bleach. Sorry.
No. Well, there was one where it was like 3 makes.
Well, I think there was, but one of the chapters was like number 2, maybe.
There was like Peter number 2.
Yeah.
And then
I think that's what I was.
I don't know. There was one where I got a little bit confused as to like the timeline that we were at. But number 3. Femi makes 3,
Then
3, and they label
there.
it as
Yeah.
killer. So.
Yeah. Because see, at the very end, the chapter is number 5. And Karibi's in her room, and she's basically told to come downstairs because they have a visitor, a male visitor. And at first I thought it was, what's his name?
The coma patient.
Mutar. I thought that was him at first.
I did too.
But then I realized it says number 5. And so I figured, okay, that's saying that this is her next victim. Yeah. But no, there was a coma patient at the hospital, and Karibi, because she really had no one, or their mom doesn't know what Ayula's doing.
Oh golly, no, that would kill her mom.
Yeah. She has
sure.
no idea. And so, Karibi has no one to talk to this about this stuff to. So there's this coma patient that they don't expect is going to live. And so Karibi pours everything out to him, and then he wakes up.
Yeah. It's a miracle.
He wakes up and basically remembers just about everything that Karibi told him, and decides that he's not going to tell anybody. And which, again, was a little odd to me, but he was pretty much his reasoning was, well, I didn't know those men, but I know you, and you were good to me. And I'm like, she wasn't good to you. A lot was made of how Karibi would visit him, even though, his family wouldn't even visit him. It was like he was practically dead already.
She wasn't doing it for him.
Doing it for him. She just wanted a place to confess to.
Yeah.
She wasn't doing it for him. But anyway, that's how it was presented. So I thought that the story was trying to give Karibi a lot more credit than she deserved. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're trying to make her out to be better than what her actions were.
Yeah.
Were doing. But
it didn't fool me.
Anyway, apparently these two become somewhat friends. And I don't know. He starts to have trouble with his family because they never expected him to wake up, so they had moved on. And then his wife comes in and basically says, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you.
Yep. Probably because she wants to go get married to his brother.
That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, then he's being released from the hospital, and he tells her, I want to keep in touch. So he gives her his phone number. And she was contemplating calling him at the end, and then she burns his number in the paper in a candle. And so that's why I thought it was going to be him downstairs. And she was going to, finally, Karibi would have, a support or someone on, someone for her. No, it wasn't. Which is nothing changed.
No.
There was no, I guess the only thing is that I think Karibi decided, at the beginning, she was really making excuses for her sister and buying into all this. And then you could see her change over the course, basically because it was T.E.E. If it had been another guy, I don't think she would have.
Oh, no.
She kept reading Femi's poetry that his sister was posting online, but you could tell she wasn't trying to find out who he really was. She was trying to see the bad person he was that caused her sister to kill him.
Yeah.
So, she didn't, but so over the time, especially because of T.E.E., she was coming to terms with, there's no defense here. This is how my sister is. And at the end, she accepts it and decides to continue. So I guess she didn't really change except in her way of looking at things. She decided to continue to be responsible for her sister instead of basically telling the truth, because she does try to kill T.E.E. And she doesn't do it. And she's the one, Ayula ends up stabbed instead. And so then T.E.E. gets arrested and he's telling stories. So anyway, and Ayula,
like that part.
Karibi backs her sister.
Yep.
Instead
so
of
it was 225 pages of nothing that changes.
Nothing changed at all. Except, like I said, I think Karibi made the conscious decision to continue no matter what, even though instead of trying to defend her sister and make it okay what she did, she's now like, okay, I know what she's doing, but I'm still going to be responsible for it. So, yeah, I didn't really. So, whatever. Again, I thought it was going to be Mutar at the end there, but nope, just another man, and we're all smiling at each other, and everybody knows what's going to happen next.
Except for their mom.
Except for their mom. So
I think Muhtar was such a pointless addition.
Yeah, because I mean, seriously, there could have been some like huge drama there,
right?
Like he was gonna
he
tell.
remembers everything. This man in a coma wakes up. No one thought he was gonna ever wake up. Complete miracle that he made it, and he remembers everything. And then he's just like, oh well, you know,
I'm not gonna tell.
I'm not gonna tell anyone. It's okay.
There was some nice tension leading up to that because Karibi was like really worried.
Yeah.
And so there was a little tension leading up to that. And then I was like, seriously, okay, so he could have tried to tell, and Karibi could have killed him, and then the sisters were in the same boat.
Yes! There was so much potential because, this guy was painted out to be kind of like a good person, you know?
Yeah.
He was a professor, he taught kids, he had probably a pretty strong moral compass, you know? And so you would think that hearing that somebody is killing people, he would be like, we have to go to the police immediately. This is not okay.
And he even tells Karibi that she needs to save T.E.E. And that's at the point I think she goes and basically she says, you know, look, she's killed before. And he laughs at her and she's like, well, I tried.
Yeah, it's no use.
So, I mean, he really is you need to save her. But the whole point, the only reason he doesn't tell is he doesn't want Karibi to get in trouble. Because he didn't know those men, but he knew her.
Yeah, which he didn't.
And she'd been good to him. Which
she
hasn't.
She literally was just using him as a sounding board to just talk to.
Yeah.
And then when he did wake up, she didn't want to talk to him.
No,
ever.
She did not want to talk to him.
And she was trying to avoid him.
Yeah.
And the only reason that she did go talk to him was because he requested her as his nurse. And so she was forced to go and talk to him. And then when she was there, she was trying to leave as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm. The only nice thing she did is when his family came in and they were not being nice to him because, of course, they expected he was going to die. And then he wouldn't fall in with the plans that they had made in the meantime. So, you know, he was becoming visibly upset. And she did defend him to the family. She ended up running the family out. So that was the one thing. But that was after he had told her that he wasn't going to tell on her.
Right.
So
would she have done that before?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I think there was some attempt made I think there was a lot of attempts made to make us sympathize with Karibi, and it didn't because she was not a good person.
No, she was not a good person, and then
she
had zero backbone. It's just
and just because she ran that family off doesn't make her a good person.
And I also don't understand why that was even in the book anyway. I don't care about Muhtar's family.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I think it was a lot to show. Well, I think at first it was meant to be some tension there because, are they going to get caught now? Well, no, they're not. But then I think that was an attempt to show that she is sympathetic. She's not. I don't think she is. Anyway, I mean, really, like I said before, she is just as twisted as Ayula was. Just as twisted.
Oh, yeah.
And she just got twisted in different ways by their childhood. So, I don't know. Did you ever get the thing with the painting? The painting of their house that she was obsessed with?
No.
See, I think the way I understood it, I'm sure, they lived in this really big colonial style house, which I'm guessing was probably from colonization sort of days that maybe they were a very well off family.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, their dad had a painting made of their house. And of course she's thinking, it was just his ego trip kind of thing, which is probably true. But she said in the painting in one of the windows, there was a dark shadow, the shape of a woman standing there looking out, and she identified with that for some reason. I don't know. Maybe she felt like a shadow to the rest of her family. Anyway, she obsessed over this painting. And I didn't really get that. I didn't really understand that part either. I don't know.
I didn't get it at all.
Yeah. No. Anyway.
Yeah.
Overall, I just felt like the story didn't make a lot of sense. it wasn't a straightforward, like, consecutive timeline kind of thing, like this led to this, led to this.
No,
it was just a lot of
random jumping around.
well, yeah, because it would go back to a scene in their childhood, which I think was supposed to try and explain these women. Which, okay, but again, classic. I was abused as a child, so now I'm all screwed up. And I kill people. But yeah, it was just a lot of thinking and angst, and even her little obsession with T.E.E. I mean, it just proved to me anyway not to be really affection. I mean, she was in love with T.E.E. Karibi was in love with T.E.E., supposedly. But it just seemed like, again, I don't think she was any more empathetic than her sister was. She's had a stronger grasp on what we're supposed to do here. Because in the end, I mean, I was, because of the synopsis, I was expecting some big confrontation because I love him, so I'm going to save him. And
right, like I was hoping it was going to be, I have to choose between saving my sister and saving T.E.E. Like that's what I wanted. Like I wanted her to like barge in as they're in the middle, like her sister's trying to kill T.E.E. I wanted her to come barging in and being like, in this moment, who am I going to save?
No.
Nothing.
T.E.E. calls her
being like,
to come over because
no, Ayula called
her. No, I think T.E.E. called her. T.E.E. called her to come to the house.
Yeah, because he had stabbed her.
And she's, he answers the door and she's like, where is she? And she was already upstairs on the floor having been stabbed. The whole thing was all over with. Karibi's just coming to clean up.
Per usual.
She's
just the cleanup crew.
So there was no decision on Karibi's part at that point other than to follow the same script that she'd always followed, which was to lie to defend her sister.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what she'd always done. And there really wasn't a point where she like agonized over what she was going to do. I mean, she thought about it. She thought about not. But the minute that Ayula was resting or whatever, and her mom was in there and kept saying, how did this happen? How did this happen? And Karibi's like, I don't know. We'll just have to wait till Ayula wakes up, thinking when she wakes up, we'll get our story straight. We can say it was an accident or whatever. Because she told T.E.E., well, he said something like, you don't know, or I think he said, you were right. You tried to tell me.
Yeah.
And she said, I don't know what happened here, and neither do you. And because she was waiting for Ayula to wake up so they could get their story straight. Well, they woke up, and before they could talk, two detectives come in, and Ayula basically says it was T.E.E. And so Ayula was right there.
Did not care at all.
Did not care. And then neither did Karibi. I mean, there was a minute, maybe not even seconds, where Karibi thought about telling the truth. And then no. But I mean, maybe a second. It wasn't any agonizing over it.
No, and this was a guy that she supposedly loved.
And there was never
under the bus like that.
There was never a point where, she thought, this is what Matar's been telling me to do. This is what I should do. But how can I? Never comes to the realization that maybe the best way to help my sister is to tell the truth. No, none of that. Nothing. She thinks for half a second, and then I think she pretty much decides that T.E.E.'s not such a great guy anyway.
Yeah.
Because he went with Ayula only because of her looks, even after she acted the way she did, and he was still like dog-eyed on her, puppy eyes. Yeah. And so I guess he deserves it.
Yeah. She made a comment in there how she was just like, Ayula was right. Like he is just all about surface level and looks.
Right.
Like, but this man, like literally, for the first half of this book, you are pining after this man. You say you're in love with this man and that how amazing he is.
And the whole time
they're painting him to be that person. Like he's great with kids. He's a great doctor.
Yeah. And the whole time that they're dating, she's agonizing because she's pining after him. and there's all this angst because he's
it was
dating his
painful to
sister.
read.
And in the end, she's just like, oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sure. Whatever.
No.
So it was, there was a lot of points that were just letdowns because it just didn't develop, and then the payoff was not there.
No.
So these extra lines just went nowhere.
Now, I will say that while I was reading this book, I could not get over the fact of how similar it is to the movie 27 Dresses. In the way, so like the older sister works with this guy and she's in love with him, but he has no idea and doesn't love her back. And then he meets her little sister for the first time, instantly falls in love, and the sister's really not that great of a person. And so the older sister is just like trying to like break them up and is like pining after him the whole entire time. Like it's 27 Dresses
with murder.
And even like not a lot of murder. Like it's just 27
not a lot.
dresses.
A lot of thinking about murder.
Yeah.
I should say. Little thinking about murder.
Yeah. But I just couldn't do it. I just didn't like this at all.
I don't know. I guess why I went ahead, I did enjoy the story to the extent that there are some things that are just objectively good. It is objectively very well written. Her writing style, it was clear. I enjoyed her turn of phrase. I enjoyed the way she put sentences together. I liked that. I liked the short paragraphs. It kept it very suspenseful. It kept it punchy. It kept it moving quickly forward,
which is needed.
Yeah. So I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the idea of the story. It didn't pan out, but I did like the idea. I liked the dialect that she wrote in. I thought that was interesting to read, how people talked.
That drove me crazy.
I thought that was fun because I kept like hearing it in my head with an accent, and it was just kind of cool.
And like all the broken English and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I like that. I like that. Because when I read like that, I can hear it in my head. I can hear people talking in my head. And I enjoyed that a lot. I really enjoyed the nurses that Karibi worked with. They were hilarious.
Crazy.
Chidi, she was hilarious. And what was the other one?
Yinka.
Oh my gosh. They were funny.
They were all like so nosy and like loved the drama and
so that I enjoyed. This book also, as you can see on the inside cover, has a lot of quotes from people or whatever you call them.
They're newspapers. They're not.
Yeah. So like this is again where it was the same thing as My Best Friend's Exorcism, which was supposed to be funny, and I didn't get it. A bombshell of a book, sharp, explosive, hilarious.
I didn't laugh once.
Delicious little novel that you'll read in a day and wonder about for days later. Nah. Oh, this one, vicious, delicious, and deadpan. Okay, so I love deadpan humor. I didn't get it. I think there was one part where Ayula says something and it's totally straight. And that one was kind of funny. I wish I could. What was it? Something about murder or being a murderer or something like that. What was it? And I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, that was one point I did think, okay, that was deadpan humor. But that was one time. It was a one-liner, and that was all I got. I don't know. I didn't find it funny. Particularly funny. I found it sad. In a lot of ways, I found it,
It was painful. Like the whole unrequited love aspect to it, of like reading about her pining over this man, that hurt me to read. Like I literally wrote down in here about how it's just like, I don't know. I said something about how like it's just so painful. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just
Well.
I didn't feel any other emotion other than hatred and pain. Humor.
I did, even though I know I've said that it was pretty much cliche, like the whole, abused childhood produces serial killers kind of cliche at this point. So I know that, but I did find it interesting, those flashbacks to their childhood, to see that develop and how that kind of went along. And you could very clearly see where Ayoola learned that she could manipulate men to get what she wanted. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So those were, I think, parts where I enjoyed the book. I wouldn't rate, I'm a 3-star all the way on these book club books, but I would not rate this one as high as like last month. Cersei. I think Cersei was better than I liked this book.
For sure.
Still
boring to read,
yeah,
but it was better.
Boring. I don't think I wouldn't say this is my least favorite book, but it's in a group of least favorite books.
Like in general or for the book?
In general. Well, no, for book.
Okay.
If I rated this like in general, oh no, it's way low. Way lower than a lot of books I read recently. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like Cersei, I didn't like. I did not like this as well as I liked Hidden Figures even.
Yeah, and
and that was not great.
That one also.
I gave that one 3 stars too, but this one would be a lower 3-star than that one.
That makes sense, Kelly.
Right? So, if within your 3 stars you have 1 to 5 stars,
yeah,
this would be
3.1, 3.2.
Yeah, this would be the 1 of my 3 stars. But yeah, I don't know. There were things about it that I liked. Like I said, I liked her writing style. I would try something from her again just to see if it was interesting. I think it was an interesting character study to some extent if it had gone somewhere. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Cersei. It could have been an interesting character study if it had gone somewhere, but it didn't, and neither did this. So I was surprised by the end, though. I will say that, because I got to the end and turned the page, and that was it. And I went, wait, what? And I kept checking.
Yeah.
So it's a very open ending.
You told me, you're just like, just let me know when you get to the ending because I want to know. And
you texted me and said you were hating it, and I'm like, well, I'm interested to see if the end will change your mind.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting here thinking like there's gonna be like some big thing that happens at the end of the book, and it literally ends on the man smiles, I smile back. Then nothing.
And like the last chapter is titled number 5.
Yeah.
So you know that the man is the next.
See, I didn't catch that right away. At that point, I was just like trying to get through the book because I was just not enjoying my time reading it. Like, so I wasn't even reading the chapter headings anymore. I was just like,
hey, look, we have comments.
Okay, yeah. Oh, hey,
we have a comment. Hey, we really are live.
Yes, this is live.
Yes, we are. We would have edited this a lot better if it wasn't.
But yeah, no, I hated that ending. I hate when books leave it open-ended.
Yeah,
I hate it.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I don't mind that so much.
Well, I do. That's why I did not like, what is it, The House at the End of the World. So what's one of Paul Tremblay's books, I think it's like The House at the End of the World or something. It leaves it open-ended as well. And everyone loves that book, and the reason why I hated it was just because of that open ending. I can't do it.
You need it nicely wrapped up.
I do. I don't care if it's happy. I don't care if everyone dies. I just want it to end.
Closure.
Yeah.
Closure.
Closure. Okay.
I don't know. I think it just, to me though, it was kind of a saving of the book because it wasn't closure and it wasn't what you're expected, like neatly wrapped up where Karibi chooses the right thing, So it was kind of a dark ending, and I didn't mind that at all. So
I don't know. So I would have preferred had Ayoola.
The kids are going to come in and play with your cats.
Okay, that's fine.
I didn't tell you that the kids brought me today.
Oh, okay.
They're done with the shopping.
So that's fine. The cats will probably love it for a little bit and then run away.
Probably. So anyway.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I would have been happier with Ayoola and T.E.E. both dying. And Mutar being killed by Karetti. And
that would have been cool.
Karetti going off and becoming a new serial killer. Or something.
Oh, there's that.
That would have been interesting. Like, I mean, she's pretty good at cleaning
Or
things
maybe
up.
she would have just been happy because all of a sudden, being the only child, she would
that's
finally be
true.
her mother's favorite.
I doubt she would be the favorite.
Well, it'd probably
I
be one
don't
of
think-
those, having to constantly take care of her mother, like enable her mother with her grief of Ayla or something like that. So who knows? But anyway, the end was a kind of a salvation for me, because I was like, well, at least it didn't top all of this non-development going nowhere with now everything's all great and good. I mean, it was dark, and it was, this serial killer is going to keep going.
Yeah.
But my biggest problem was all of the things that led to nowhere and like no development of the story. I mean, there wasn't a real story to follow. So that was my problem, my biggest problem. But
Yeah.
Anyway.
What?
Hi. How you doing? There's cats. Look behind you. Look at that monster. I
Yeah.
swear he's like 20 pounds. Pick him up.
Yeah.
His name's Ranger.
I love your house, by the way.
Thank you.
Peyton follows you on Instagram too, so
Yeah, cool. Thank
she's
you.
like, see your cat.
Yeah.
Mom, I don't need that great.
We have visitors.
Yeah, sorry.
Because we won't speak of how much money Amy spent on decorations.
Oh, there's another one.
All you have to do is watch her videos, though.
Honestly, one of my friends watched all of my Halloween decor haul videos, and he totaled up how much I said in all the videos, and he immediately was just like, why? It's been a lot. It's a lot.
We haven't addressed our guest reviewer.
Oh yeah, this is Fred. He's my first ever skeleton purchase. So there's multiple skeletons. The other one's missing her head right now, which is unfortunate. Happened at the Halloween
Or
party last year.
fortunate.
Oh,
Whichever way you might look at
it's
it.
kind of sad. I liked her not being headless, but
You could put a pumpkin on.
Oh, Target has
Here we go.
Target has a
Oh my
legit
God.
skeleton that has a pumpkin head, and I've been trying to find it, but it's sold out like everywhere.
You could make your own. You already have a headless skeleton.
But Target looks really cool. Like,
But
it's
then
an
I wouldn't
actual-
get to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. What else am I supposed to spend my adult money on? But anyway, that's not the point of this. This
It's
is a
not.
tangent.
It's not. But you can go watch those videos. They are
Yes.
kind of interesting, all of this stuff.
Yes. And tomorrow I have my Target Halloween decor haul coming out. So
There
it's
you go.
perfect.
A new one.
Yeah, go subscribe to this channel.
That's right.
Yeah, because then you get to be notified of when we go live for our book club discussions.
Because everybody wants that.
Exactly. And yeah, a whole bunch of other great content as well. Selfless plug. But anyway,
Of course. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
but yeah.
So, hit the little red button.
Yeah, it's totally free and it
No.
takes like 2 seconds.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right. That's it.
that's all I got on this book. Pretty much just don't want to see it again.
I'll show it to you.
Mm.
The cover is very cool.
The
I
cover
will
is
say.
amazing.
I don't know if you can see, but in her sunglasses, there's a knife. And it's pretty awesome. I like that. The
Like-
cover is very cool.
The cover is also misleading. It's an amazing cover. Misleading. But anyway,
Right in there.
our book for next month is Kelly's pick.
Who Fears Death? I
I-
don't remember. Oh, I looked that up too. Apparently, the actual pronunciation is too hard to say, but on her Twitter, she says Nnedi is okay. So Nnedi Okorafor. Who Fears Death? And I love that cover. Love it. I honestly don't remember a whole lot what it's about, except it's post-apocalypse Africa. There's a woman in one of the genocidal wars. She gets raped and she escapes, goes in the desert and has a baby, and it is a angry baby, very angry baby. So that's really all I know. That has special powers that alienate her from.
Angry
I don't know. Oh, we like Fred. Yes, Fred. Fred's gonna be probably here again next month too. So anyway, that's all I really know about this book, but I'm kind of interested. Again, because of the cover, might be misleading. This one, as far as I know, has not been all hyped up. So
maybe this will be our one
this might
good
be
book for book club.
the good one. This might be the good one. So anyway,
Because I haven't heard of it. I hadn't heard of it before you found it and picked it.
it was one of those I was Googling, if you like this book, read this book, and this came up.
Do you remember what it
and-
was based off? No.
No, I don't remember what book I was looking up. Don't remember. Probably Ghost Bride, because that's where I found Silence of Trees, which was not anything like Ghost Bride.
No.
But I don't know. This one might be closer. The summary doesn't sound anything like Ghost Bride either, but I'm wondering if it's just like they're comparing it to Ghost Bride because it's like supernatural story by non-Western authors, or not and actually non-Western settings too,
True.
which is cool because I've really been enjoying the non-Western settings.
Like,
I really did like
her writing was good.
the dialect and the setting in this. I enjoyed that, and I've really been enjoying non-American, non-Western, non-English speaking settings. So I'm kind of looking forward to this one. It might be good. So we'll
I
see.
hope it is, because I need a win. I need a win because I'm so sad that book club so far this year has just been meh after meh after meh.
Yeah. But before we stop, should we plug our video? Spooky video?
Oh yeah.
This one is one where we know we enjoy the books.
Yes. And it will probably be an edited. I don't know if we've decided if we're gonna do it live or if it's gonna be like a pre-recorded video, but for spooky season, for Blogtober, whatever, we are going to be getting together and talking about some of our favorite spooky reads for this season, as well as some that we were disappointed by, because I feel like people need to know that these books are not okay. So
I really didn't realize that I've never been a horror reader, so I was thinking I really wasn't going to be able to contribute. But there is spooky reads. I did not realize how much people think Neil Gaiman is spooky. I
could see it.
Well, teaser, The Graveyard Book. The Graveyard Book is going to be one of mine. It was spooky, even for a kid's book, especially. It was spooky, but like people think Neverwhere and stuff.
I think just because it kind of plays a little bit into like some of his books are really fantastical. They have a lot of fantastical elements, and I think
that's supposed to make it spooky.
no, but it's not like it's a happy fantasy. A lot of it has dark themes too.
Well, I guess it does, but I just never would have thought as Neverwhere as a spooky. Ocean at the End of the Lane, I could see that as being spooky, but
Have you seen the cover for Neverwhere? Is it?
Yeah.
And does it Neverwhere happen like? If I remember this, it's been a minute since I read it, but it's like all in an underground city,
well, yeah,
right? Like
So?
it's dark.
So it doesn't make it spooky. Just because they
It
come
has,
through
like,
a swamp
spooky-
of dead things, I don't see that as spooky.
Spooky vibes. Okay, I don't
Alright,
think that
okay.
it deserves to be
No, it's not.
classified as a horror novel.
No,
but
none of his
spooky vibe. No.
Not that one. I was gonna say none of his are horror, but that arguably Sandman could be. I haven't read the comic, but I've read some of the comic, but I think that could possibly. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But
That video
yes,
will be coming out soon. This month, October.
This month.
I haven't decided an official day that it's going to be coming out yet, but it will.
It will.
And I think we decided that we're going to be on location for that
We
video.
are going to be on
We will
location
be filming.
and
in a
hopefully
spooky
not
place.
arrested.
Yeah.
We may have to do it live if we get arrested.
Dude, if we got arrested, that we have to do it live then. Like people need to see that go down. But
Anyway, we are happy Halloween to you. Anyway, yeah, that will be coming up where we talk about our favorite spooky reads.
Yes.
Okay.
Very excited. I think that's all that we got for
we
y'all
got for
today. Hope you enjoyed listening to us
Really.
kind of bash and ramble this
We
book.
did kind of bash it, but it kinda
You know,
deserves
at this
it,
point, it's on brand for us.
kind of. Thinking, maybe we should just make book club about bad books. We'll just read bad books that we do, and then we might get books we like.
Well, yeah, we should.
Everybody else thinks they're bad.
Exactly, yeah. That for next year's book
Yes.
club picks, we're gonna go through and be like the worst rated books. We're gonna hop on and be like 5-star reads, 5 stars.
Loved it all. Oh well. Okay,
Anyway.
well, read along with us this month. This is October's book. We'll be
Yes.
discussing it 1st of November. So read along with us. Join in the conversation if you like. We would really like you to. Seeing comments is really cool. Thank you so much for commenting. That's awesome.
So yeah. All right.
I think that's it.
Yep.
That's it for us. I'm Kelly,
And I'm Amy.
and we are Tea Time,
And
we
this is
are
Fred.
and Fred.
Yep. And we'll see you guys next time.
Next time.
Bye.